Okay, hi. So we are gonna continue with the news with the how to empower our kids, and the video that I wanted to share with you today is from Good Morning America again, and they have their own series that they have been running and showing since December, and I know this is more about Me Too women and raising strong women, but it's also about kids in general. This is interesting video. It's gonna talk with the kids between age and between age 7 and 10 years, and it's the interview is gonna show you how kids at this age, they don't see themselves as different than boys, girls and boys, boys and girls. The interview more with the girls, but you will notice that they see equality and they recognize it as a fact. What's interesting is one of the question was, what if a boy wants to hug you? She said, I'm gonna, and you don't want it. And the girl said, I'm not gonna hug him, I'm gonna tell him no. What about if you have a lice? Like, this is the most horrible thing that comes to her mind, that it's the saying no because it's maybe you have lice. Okay, it's how wonderful the kid's mind is. There is also the psychiatrist David Anderson, Dr. David Anderson. He's there too. Let's start. I don't know why it's showing like that, but I hope it's gonna.
Deborah Roberts is here.
Now it's better.
And Deborah, you met with a group of young girls in San Francisco.
I sure did, Michael. Hi. You know how they say kids say the darndest things. Well, I sat down with some 7 to 10-year-old girls from different backgrounds who are just beginning to discover their voices in an open and honest way. We talked about what the world is like for them in 2018 and what it means to be a girl in school, at home, and amongst boys. When you say somebody is a girl, what does that mean?
Well, for the people who think boys and girls are different, I bet they would say that girls like pink and they like to wear dresses.
Is that true?
No.
What does it mean to be a princess?
Well, princesses act like the fancy and like the perfect, but nobody's perfect.
Do you feel like boys and girls are pretty much equal?
Yeah.
What if a boy is acting like he's better than you? What do you do?
Maybe I'll say that I don't like what he's doing and if he could stop it. Girls are just the same as boys are.
Watching from the room next door, the girls' parents and child psychologist Dr. David Anderson. They had a very clear sense about girls and boys being equal.
That was something that's really interesting. Boys of the same age may hear a little bit more to beliefs about gender roles, or they may believe there are certain things girls can't do or boys are not supposed to do.
He also noted how the girls are learning to look out for one another. If somebody was being mean to your friend, could you stand up?
I might say, can you please be nicer? I did it for my sister once. It felt good.
When we asked boys the same question, the answer was, if it comes to it, we may have to get physical. For the girls on the panel, you didn't get a single answer that, involved going into someone else's space.
In fact, guarding their personal space may be one of the critical rights young girls are learning at this age.
I usually just put my hands here and I'm like, don't cross the bubble space.
What if somebody is giving you a hug and you don't want them to give you a hug?
Oh, yeah.
What can you do?
You can say, please stop, because if you kind of give a hug to somebody, you don't know if they have lice, and you need to take your own space.
Even when the kids mentioned lice, the parents said that was developmentally appropriate because at some level they were happy that was one of the biggest threats that they were thinking about. If your only worry in life is lice, you've done a pretty good job keeping your kid protected.
Though adolescence is still years away, these girls are already imagining the future. What does it mean to be a powerful woman?
Maybe be strong. Don't show off and just do it. It's not like they're like a superhero or anything. They feel good about themselves and they're just strong.
And when their parents joined in, no embarrassment here, only pride on both sides.
I thought it was really wonderful to just hear the girls talk about how girls are equal to boys. And in my day and age, if I had been interviewed, if the answers would have been so across the board.
What's the hardest thing about raising sort of strong girls that are going to grow up to be strong, good women?
When you're younger age, it's all about mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to become more and more my friends are doing this. My friends are, showing me this sort of thing.
As the kids get older, parents as role models fade in power, and there get to be new social pressures, which is exactly where we want these ideals to stay strong.
These girls are growing up in an era of very empowered women and confident women. And I think that's the biggest gift we can give our girls.
A lot of girl power in that room. Well, these girls are at an age where they aren't so self-conscious and they're not unwilling to speak their minds. I asked them how they would react to boys who may act better or smarter or more powerful than they are. And they told me, and this is a situation, of course, a lot of women will complain about. The girls told me, Michael, they hadn't experienced this, but if they did, they'd tell the boys to cut it out. And as a mom, I remember that age, but the key, of course, is trying to keep the girls rooted in that kind of power and honesty, and that's the challenge for parents.
And I'm glad you're bringing this series to us. As a father of a 13-year-old girl, I'm panicking at this point in my life. So this is very, very important. And we're going to bring in Dr. Anderson, who's going to help us. Dr. David Anderson, he's the senior director of the Child Mind Institute. And we just saw you in the piece, Doc. And as you can see, these kids, at 7 to 10 years old, they're already forming their own identities at that age. So how, as a parent, do you foster that growth?
We like to think that identity is about being exposed to a diverse set of experiences and role models. So it's following a kid's lead and making sure they've got lots of opportunities to engage in a wide range of passions, whether it's robotics or violin lessons or sports. And that's kind of how we make sure that they then can pull out the various facets of their identity from those activities.
And we all feel like you want your daughters to feel like they can do anything.
Of course.
I want the same thing. But what are the building blocks of that? How do we give them confidence? How do we give them the strength?
I think it's about what we pay attention to in terms of what we praise for our children. It's that if we praise effort and kindness and perseverance, who they are, what they do, and how they interact with others, we're more likely to see those qualities start to amplify as they grow older. We want to avoid praise around appearance or just around, the idea of certain qualities only on their own.
And sort of creating those stereotypes, too, because these girls say they like to get dirty. They don't want to be considered like these light, frivolous things. Exactly. They didn't like that at all.
Absolutely.
And you also say that parents, you're the role model for your kids. I mean, we all are. But at a certain age, you heard the parents say, well, they kind of want to hang out with their friends. So how do you balance that? How do you, it's a difficult change for a parent to see your kids kind of move away from you towards their peers, but how do you support that and still be, supportive of that without losing yourself in?
Right. This is the toughest part for any parent, because at the beginning of this age range, kids are really listening to their parents as role models, but near the end, they start listening a lot to their peers. And that's where we don't want it to be a push-pull dynamic between parents and peers. We want parents to follow the kids' lead, meet them where they're at, get to know their social world, so that as they get older, they keep those lines of open communication and make sure that as kids confront sex or drugs or alcohol, parents can really openly communicate with their kids about it.
So they're not just talking to their peers, but they're talking to their parents, hopefully a little bit too. Not as much probably, but a little bit.
That's rough with 13-year-old girls.
Well, I tell you what, you two have really helped. I'm still panicking.
It's going to be okay, Mike.
And we're not done. We have more of this coming up. And I love what the young lady said. She said, nobody's perfect.
That's right.
And for her to realize that between 7 and 10 is pretty powerful. Dr. Anderson, thank you, Deborah. Watch out for the lights.